Coming up in Our News Weekend, changes to travel protocol, the latest from the Ministry of Tourism. A Grand Bahama man attacked by a shark. Plus, Happy Halloween, how some parents got creative.
Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Happy Halloween and welcome to Our News, the Weekend Edition. Thank you for joining us. I'm Kyle Joaquin. Effective tomorrow, November 1st, the mandatory 14-day quarantine will be discontinued and replaced with a more stringent regime of COVID-19 testing. However, during a press conference this morning, Tourism Minister DIONISIO Adhere stated a change in plans where taking a rapid antigen test upon landing in the country will not be required.
The use of rapid antigen tests as an effective screening tool at the border was not supported by the available research, or as some would like to say, was not supported by the science. As a result, effective tomorrow, the 1st of November 2020, there will be no tests conducted on arrival.
The tourism minister announcing new changes to travel protocols set to take effect tomorrow that will require those coming into the Bahamas to present negative results of a RT-PCR swab test no older than 5 days prior to travel, as well as see visitors staying longer than 4 days take a rapid antigen test on day 5, all of which will be covered in the cost of the travel health visa.
When you receive your Bahamas health travel visa, it will possess a QR code, which is like a barcode. When you present for the 5-day test, that QR code will be scanned by the screener so that the results of your test can be properly uploaded to your account. Naturally, we encourage everyone to take the 5-day test so that we can assess your status 5 days after entering the Bahamas.
But what if a visitor tests positive while in the Bahamas? The minister explained 3 options that will be enforced on November 14th.
First, those who test positive but exhibit no symptoms, i.e. asymptomatic, can quarantine in place for up to 14 days. The insurance will cover the hotel costs of that quarantine. Second, if a person tests positive, exhibits no symptoms, asymptomatic, but has a pre-existing medical condition, then they will have the option to be medically evacuated out of the country. And third, if a person tests positive and exhibits symptoms, they will be immediately medically evacuated to their home country for medical purposes.
But there is a concern about the decision to allow those visitors who may test positive and be asymptomatic to vacation in place at their hotel for up to 14 days, and how that would impact hotel employees who may have to interact with them.
We are encouraging all of our hotels to put in place a screening tool so that they can test their staff as well. I think it would be very unrealistic to assume that they'll be able to get away with not testing their staff. So we're encouraging them, using private sector options, to implement a screening and testing protocol for their staff so that those staff can be tested and screened and not, first of all, transmit the virus from us to them. And also, as we've seen in a number of businesses and government offices, when you have an outbreak, it leads to the shutdown of that particular facility.
Adhere explained that none of this would come at a cost to the Bahamas government, as Atlantic Medical has come on board to offer the traveler's insurance set to be rolled out November 14th, which the visitor will pay for.
Citizens and returning residents, alongside visitors staying up to 4 nights, will be charged $40. Visitors staying more than 4 nights will be charged $60. Children 10 years and under will not be charged.
Adhere says research has shown that there is increased demand for travel within the Caribbean, which the Bahamas is seeking to meet that demand. He says this change in protocol is the ministry's latest effort to kickstart the tourism sector. And with a 24-hour weekend curfew still in place for islands like New Providence, the tourism minister also explained what this means for tourists.
Right now, restrictions exist for the Abacos, Grand Bahama, and New Providence. In regard to these 3 islands that are under curfews and implementing greater public health restrictions, travelers will be required to follow the orders accordingly. In the case of curfew, those guests at hotels and resorts will be required to stay within the property grounds during curfew hours.
During the press conference, the minister was also asked about any change in protocol for domestic travel. As it stands, one must quarantine in place for 14 days when traveling from islands like New Providence to other family islands, in addition to testing negative.
Bearing in mind that this is an enormous undertaking, we've really been focused on international travelers. And certainly within the next 7 days, we're going to turn our focus and the building of the necessary platform to deal with domestic travel. Bahamians want to travel to our family of islands, but we understand that within New Providence, which is the starting point for many travels into the family islands, we are experiencing a certain level of community spread. So the government is concerned about how to roll that out. So we've turned our focus to international travel, and this week we will turn our focus to domestic travel. And who knows, maybe 1 week from there, I'll be back here talking about that.
The tourism industry is coming off of life support, according to Acting Labor Director John Pinder. Pinder credited the government's decision to give employers an extra 30 days after the emergency orders expire to figure out what they will do with their employees. Jillian Gray explains.
It's a move that's been criticized by some, but Acting Labor Director John Pinder praised the government for suspending the 90-day redundancy clause in the Employment Act.
To the government's credit, when they extend the emergency order, which allows the employer an additional 30 days at the expiration of the emergency order to make a decision on staffers. It protects staffers' jobs. And they may not be physically working, but that job is still secured until such time as the economy opens. They still have a job. They wouldn't lose their jobs. And so I am satisfied that the emergency orders, as relates to the suspension of that part of the Employment Act, protects those persons who find themselves right now in extended layoff positions.
Under the Act, employers can only lay off workers for up to 90 days before their positions become redundant and severance pay becomes due. However, the COVID-19 Emergency Powers Orders has suspended that law during the state of emergency and for 30 days after. That clause has been a bone of contention with some Atlantis workers who are pressing their employer to give them their severance pay. The Acting Labor Director said he knows that until flights and cruise ships begin their regular routine into the Bahamas, we will not be back to normal, which will continue to affect jobs. He, however, said that with hotels intending to come on stream soon, the tourism industry is like a sick patient that is starting to breathe again on its own.
But it's coming off life support now. It's coming off life support. It has removed itself out of intensive care unit, off life support, and it's beginning to breathe on its own again. Now, how soon will it get back to being able to get up, walk around? I compare the tourism industry to a sick patient.
Pinder said he pegs the unemployment number at 40 or 44%, not including those in the tourism industry who've been impacted. 9,245 people uploaded their resume to the department's website between March and September, and Pinder said he believes those are people either affected by the pandemic or displaced because of Dorian.
You have some people who are unemployed, would have been using that. They have some people who are on the extended unemployment list that may have also uploaded resumes. And you also have some persons who are presently employed but not satisfied with employment and hear about other opportunities that normally come to the Department of Labor for an employer to bring in a foreign worker. They might have also uploaded that too. But I believe it's safe to say at least 80 to 85% of those numbers are persons who find themselves unemployed because of Dorian and some of the pandemic.
Reporting for Our News Weekend, I'm Jillian Gray.
Still on tourism news, a local economist is calling for more focus to be placed on the country's #1 industry to assist with a faster rebound. Here's Giorgio Bain.
Former Chamber of Commerce President Edison Sumner is recommending a hefty focus on rejuvenating the #1 industry as the country prepares to reopen. This as the country's deficit has been elevated to $336.3 million above earlier projections. Sumner predicts the focus on tourism as a sure way to begin our economic recovery.
The Bahamian economy is built largely on tourism. We are not going to be able to go very far without, first of all, re-engaging the tourism sector. The hotels will need to reopen. The airlines will need to increase their airlift capacity coming into the country, bringing people into the country. We need the foreign currency to be coming back in because we haven't had any significant inflows, if any at all, for the last 7 or 8 months or so.
According to Sumner, a determining factor in getting the tourism industry back up and running will be to demonstrate that the Bahamas is a safe place to travel. This will require carrying out proper testing protocols for residents as well as visitors.
It's also important that we are able to put those health protocols in place, the testing in place to make sure that persons coming into the country and those of us who live here and who still have to engage in daily activities, whether it's through work or some other means. But it's important that persons coming in have the ability to be tested before they arrive into the country so that they can get their negative tests. And also those who have arrived in the country, that they have an opportunity to be tested on arrival.
Sumner added that while the tourism and financial services industries rebound, it is the right time to promote the technology industry that has grown as a result of the pandemic.
We're talking about building this new e-commerce platform, this national platform that will allow artisans and the creative arts industry professionals and the musicians and others to be able to display their goods and services through this national platform, where they're going to be exposed not only to the domestic market or the national market, but they will also have greater exposure to the international market, so that persons who are looking for Bahamian music, Bahamian art, Bahamian artifacts, Bahamian souvenirs, and Bahamian apparel and the rest of it will have a place to go that they can find products that are going to be authentic Bahamian products.
Reporting for Our News Weekend Edition, I'm Georgie O'Bain.
In other news, the Ministry of Education is strengthening support mechanisms in EXUMA to better facilitate online learning at public schools on that island, according to Education Director Marcellus Taylor. The Education Director made the comments while he was a guest at the Counselors Limited EXUMA Business Outlook on Thursday. Despite the challenges with the ministry's online learning platform, Taylor says he's pleased with the progress that has been made so far.
I'm sure that people in EXUMA will have their opinion on whether or not what is provided is adequate. I would say that we are in the process of strengthening up the infrastructure that is there in EXUMA to support the virtual learning activities.
Well, virtual learning was a nightmare for Terrell Knowles, a father of 5 who found himself unemployed in the midst of the pandemic. With 5 children enrolled in public school and no home internet service, Knowles found himself having to juggle one cell phone between 5 kids. He says it was a frustrating time not knowing how he was going to provide for his family.
They know what I used to do, I can't do anymore, so it feels like they are deprived from getting the education that they used to get, and they are school students that are on the top level in learning.
That was when a friend told him about the RevNet Lifeline program, a customized new service that fully subsidizes high-speed internet for families for 12 months.
It was an answer to my prayers, because I was asking God how it was going to happen. Because now the kids could be able to do their work. Instead of me having to depend on me to have to get a data plan, and and then sometimes you don't have it, so that means that they don't be able to go to they won't be able to go in class.
Noel says the only way to get help is to speak up. Applications are now open for families in need. Visit connectivityforall.com. Still to come on Our News, with the U.S. presidential election just days away, some Bahamians are all ready to vote. Plus, Grand Bahama fishermen shared their plight amid the coronavirus pandemic. Stay tuned.
This is a huge deal. NFL Sunday Ticket is back, only with Rev Trio. All day football, all day Sunday. Enjoy all the benefits of Trio with a huge extra. Never miss a game with NFL Sunday Ticket, included in your Rev Trio bundle. All you have to do is opt in. TV, phone, and internet starting at just $99. Call 601-8992 to sign up now. Visit www.rev.bs/promotions for details.
You're watching Our News. Welcome back. As Americans prepare to head to the polls in just a matter of days for the presidential election, there are quite a few Bahamas-born American citizens casting their ballots as well. Drew Palacios was born in the Bahamas and now lives in the U.S. and says as a black man living in America, it's important now more than ever to get out and vote.
The first time I voted was actually back in 2008. for Barack Obama at that time. And the difference this time is that I feel like it's very important because the country is more divided now, and anything that I can do to make the country more unified is validated by voting, and that's so important because the only way that you can have a voice is by voting. If you don't vote, then you don't really have a right to complain. So you should be able to vote and voice your opinion, and that way you have a say in what happens in the future.
Palacios was a guest on the Our TV show On the Record with host Jerome Sawyer. Dr. Lonika Joseph says being a black woman and heading to the polls is just as important as she's thinking about the future and what will be left for her children.
I believe, being here in America and one day possibly having children of my own, one day I may have a son or a daughter and they're pulled on the side of the road because of the color of their skin. So me voting and understanding that electoral votes and who is in the court system, that plays a major role in what happens to our children and what happens to me and my loved ones who are all black people in America and even around the world. So it is very, very important. So Black Lives Matter really impacted and affected how I voted and how I casted my vote here.
A Grand Bahama man is recovering tonight after he was bitten by a shark last evening. According to reports just after 6 p.m., police were alerted that the McLeanstown resident was bitten on the right arm by an 8-foot shark while diving for fish in waters off East End. He was rushed to Rand Memorial Hospital where up to last evening his injuries were considered serious but non-life-threatening. Well, it hasn't been the best fishing season so far for fishermen in Grand Bahama. Joseph Thomas, who runs Friends of East Grand Bahama Fishermen's Club, said many of them have had to hustle to survive.
The lobster season is not pretty. It is a little disappointed, but nevertheless, they just keep scrapping. If no lobster, they go out fish. If there's no fish, they go out count. They just do what they have to do to make a living.
Joseph Tate says he's been out of work for over a year since Hurricane Dorian destroyed both of his boats. A recent donation from Rotary will allow him to get back on the water, and he said he's grateful as for the past 14 months he's had to depend on help from family.
A little hustling now and then, sometimes one of my family had a little motor one, sometimes he give me one little deal once in a while, like once a week, twice a week sometime, and that's how I was hustling like that every now and then, to put food on the table.
Still to come, how some kids are doing Halloween. Stay tuned.
This is a huge deal. NFL Sunday Ticket is back, only with Rev Trio. All day football, all day Sunday. Enjoy all the benefits of Trio with a huge extra. Never miss a game with NFL Sunday Ticket, included in your Rev Trio bundle. All you have to do is opt in. TV, phone, and internet starting at just $99. Call 601-8992 to sign up now. Visit www.rev.bs/promotions for details.
The Living with COVID Coalition is inviting members of the public to join its online platform. By purchasing a rapid antigen test, group member Royanne Dean says you can get access to the group's online platform.
It doesn't require a fee to be paid. It's just joining to say that you're a part of the Living with COVID Coalition. But in addition to the pricing for the test, then you receive access to the web-based platform, access to the app that facilitates the data being shared, you getting reminders from the app notifications about if you need to be retested, what the health protocols are, all of those things.
The Living with COVID Coalition has teamed up with the Ministry of Health to secure 3 million rapid antigen tests to be used for the country's reopening tomorrow.
You test it at the port of entry. That data is entered into the platform, and there's an app, and you'll receive notifications about, if you tested positive, then here are the things that you need to do. But at the same time, that data will be shared with the relevant health authorities, so they'll know that, case number 72757, what have you, because it will be anonymized. This case tested positive.
The coalition is also offering its services to employers.
Employers are a huge key partner because, we want the economy to reopen. So tourism is a huge part of our economy. Once we have visitors that are returning and guests that are staying, then businesses can open. We need money to start flowing through the economy again. So employers are a very, very, very big part of this equation. And the members of Corporate Bahamas understand that. They have donated their resources, which is how this coalition is functioning and up and running. But employers, you know, in order to keep your establishment open, you have to reduce the risk of workplace transmission.
How parents help their little ones celebrate Halloween. That's coming up when Our News Weekend returns.
This is a huge deal. NFL Sunday Ticket is back, only with Rev Trio. All day football, all day Sunday. Enjoy all the benefits of Trio with a huge extra. Never miss a game with NFL Sunday Ticket, included in your Rev Trio bundle. All you have to do is opt in. TV, phone, and internet starting at just $99. Call 601-8992 to sign up now. Visit www.rev.bs/promotions for details.
The Rotary Clubs of Grand Bahama have joined forces to help fishermen get back to work. Members repaired 115 boats that were damaged during Hurricane Dorian. Since the storm, Rotary has been helping to repair homes and donate food. Club representatives said they started to raise support for fishermen as they realized that the group desperately needed to get back to work.
They've been rigged properly with steering wheel, cable, the shift, to make sure that we don't just give you an engine, but we gave you something that you'll be able to get right back on sea. It comes with a warranty.
I believe in that old adage that you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day, but if you equip him to go fishing, you feed him for a lifetime. And so today we are here donating engines back to those persons in that community so that they can get back on the waters and be able to feed themselves.
The donation included 43 new engines, which were funded by a global Rotary grant. Fishermen in Grand Bahama say they are grateful for the donation and happy to get back on the water, with many of them saying they haven't been fishing since before Dorian.
This is big time for the people, the fishermen. Most of them are grateful for what's going on, and it's a big help. It's a big push for the economy and for the fishermen to get back and start, feed their family again. So it's a big morale booster, man.
Right now today I'm so happy. I feel like breakdancing. Just to get back out on the water again to feed my family 100%.
Feel super. Yeah? Super. Appreciate it.
What does it mean to you to get back out on the water?
Can't wait, man. Livelihood.
Feel like lobster, man. Ready to go catch some lobster.
How long has it been since you've been fishing?
More than a year. About a year and 13 months.
Okay.
But feels good to be getting back on the water now.
Managing Director of OBS Marine Limited, Jamie Rose, said they wanted to give the fishermen something that will save them money and last them a long time.
We wanted to make sure that the fishermen that are going back to work with our product, we're getting something that is a 4-stroke product. They're very, very fuel efficient, and they're going to be capable of helping fishermen by saving them money. So at the end of the day, they're going to be able to keep more money in their pocket because of fuel efficiency, durability, longevity, everything else that's associated with these platforms.
Well, it is Halloween, and I know I'll never be able to live this down, but parents were forced to get even more creative this year to have their children get in on some of the trick-or-treat fun. Little Summer Greenslade is just one of them who was all smiles as she dressed up as the cutest version of the Cookie Monster, and baby Jordan Thomas, who was full of giggles in his costume. Also getting creative was 5-year-old Aria Roberts, who carved some pumpkin with her family.
So we carved out a spider on our pumpkin. So there we go.
Chocolate.
Chocolate, is there one that you really like most?
M&M's.
Awesome. Has it been a good Halloween so far?
Yes.
Well, thank you for joining us for Our News tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Kyle Joaquin. Remember, you can get your Our News on the go or the Go Play app. Have a good Halloween evening, Bahamas.